Hi, my name is Rick Lewis. This is day 3 of 21 days in the life of a professional speaker. And I have 4 gigs coming up in 10 days from now. So I started 2 days ago. And what I'm doing each day is I'm describing the tasks, the activities, the focuses of my attention leading up to my first event, which is about 10 days from now, because I wanted to give you a sense of the kind of things that need to be taken care of and that a professional speaker might think about coming up to an event, especially with 4 events in a row coming up here in a very short span. So this is kind of like a behind the scenes tour of what goes on. So today was design call day, and a design call is when I get on the phone or get on a Zoom call with the stakeholders of a meeting. So that could mean the meeting planners or the C-suite of the company who's holding the event. And I ask them questions about the meeting. So I need to know things like, first of all, what's the purpose of this meeting? What are the outcomes you want to see? What should these attendees do when they walk out of the room? What's the first thing you want them to do or to think? So that's really important for me to get from a high level where they want me to help focus their employees or the attendees' attention. What are the takeaways for them? And then I start digging around a bit. So I have a stock set of questions I start from, and then based on the answers I get from these questions, I'll follow the trail. I just get curious. And my job is to kind of poke around and find out what's really going on at the company. So I will ask questions about who the attendees are, where they're from. I get the demographics of the group, like kind of gender splits, male, female, or other, age range. What are their roles and responsibilities? What are their relationship to each other? How is the relationship? How well do they know each other? How well do they communicate? How well do they get along? What are the pain points in the company? So I'll often ask the question this way. I'll say, if I were to take 5 of your attendees and have a one-on-one conversation with them alone in a room, and I ask them what their biggest struggle is, what would they tell me? And I get that information from the perspective of the managers and the executives. And if I feel like they don't have a good sense of where their attendees or employees are struggling with what their pain points are, I will actually ask for contact information for a couple of the attendees, and I'll do an interview with a few of those people directly myself. In this case, today I had my first design call with the first function I will be delivering 10 days from now, and they want to focus on teamwork. And I did not get a sense that they don't have a good grasp on where their employees are coming from. I think they're pretty clear, and I'm pretty clear about how I can support them in terms of just communicating better across channels, especially in between departments. That seems to be one of their main sticking points right now, is there's not a lot of cross flow of communication between departments that really need to work together. So that was my first design call today. I'll be trying to complete the other 3 this week, because then I need to get all these keynotes designed and the slide decks built and all in place before I hit the road and start that first gig just 10 days from now. I usually start this design call process about a week or 2 out. I don't like to do it too early, because if I were to do this design call, if I would have done it 60 days previously and I've got 4 or 5 gigs leading up to this one, then it gets very confusing. I have to go back and remember, okay, what was that design call about? What were they telling me? And how do I fit that into my presentation? So I try and time the workflow so I'm getting to these design calls a week or 2 before actually delivering the keynote. I'm going to put in the description of the video here just a list of some starter questions. So if you yourself need to deliver a presentation and you want a starting point for the kinds of questions you can ask that will provoke some good information for you from the client, then that'll help you get started. And my best advice is just kind of follow your nose. Just be curious. If you explain to the client, the more you understand about the attendees, the better job you can do. I've never had a client say, "Hey, that's none of your business," or "I'm not going to answer that." Of course, I don't ask invasive questions, but I do get very curious. And when I get curious, often the client tends to get curious. Sometimes they'll say things like, "Oh, I never thought of that," or "No one has ever asked that question," which is a really good sign to me. That's what I want to provoke, is some open-minded, new, fresh thinking about where they're all coming from and where they can go from that point. So there you go. That's kind of how to conduct a design call. I'll have some notes in the description you can use if you need to do one of these yourself. And that's day 3. And then tomorrow, we'll see what tomorrow brings. I'm not even sure. I'm just taking this one day at a time and asking myself the question, where's my attention today? What am I working on? And then sharing that with you. So thanks for watching day 3. I'll see you tomorrow in day 4.